There is a soul that carries a deep love for you, yet this person has intentionally chosen to remain far away. Before your thoughts begin racing and trying to explain everything, I need you to pause for a moment and breathe gently. Because the message reaching you right now is not just another ordinary thing. This exact moment, this message, and this perfect timing come from a higher connection. It serves as clear proof and confirmation. It is the truth your inner heart has quietly been hoping to hear all along. Hidden beneath all the confusion and unanswered questions in your life, there is no accident in this. Nothing happening here is random or meaningless. Sometimes the universe reveals its hidden truths, and you can only notice them when you stop rushing through life and become still enough to listen. Your spirit already knows what is real. There is someone in your life story, or maybe someone who once stood very close to you, who carries powerful devotion they struggle to express in words. They feel an intense emotion they do not know how to manage, and a longing they cannot remove no matter how much distance they place between you. Do not assume their quiet behavior means they do not care. Their silence is actually filled with strong emotions overflowing inside them. As their love becomes deeper, their need to pull away also grows. It is as though caring for you has become both the most beautiful gift and the heaviest challenge they have ever experienced. This is the truth their heart understands well. Even though their actions try to hide it, they keep their distance because you touched them deeply at their core. You awakened something that had been sleeping, something hidden beneath many years of emotional protection. If you're dealing with someone who loves you but keeps pulling away, hit like right now. As Carl Jung once said, the meeting of two personalities is like the contact of two chemical substances. If there is any reaction, both are transformed. And that is exactly what happened between you. You changed them in meaningful ways. You helped them discover sides of themselves they had never shown anyone before. You opened walls they had carefully built over time. You reached a part of their soul that even they did not realize existed. You are not simply another person in their life. You are like a mirror that reflects what they desire and what they fear losing. You reflect their hopes and also every old wound they never truly healed. They have never experienced feelings this strong, this sincere, or this difficult to control. You lowered their defenses without even trying. With you, their soul felt completely exposed, clear, and uncovered. And being vulnerable was something they were never taught was safe. You were never part of their original plan, but rather a sudden arrival that shifted their entire world in ways they still cannot completely explain or understand. They did not expect the sparks that appeared when you talked, the deep calm they felt when you were near, or the frightening reality that your absence would feel like losing the very air they breathe. This person remains distant, not because they lack interest, but because of a paralyzing fear regarding the immense emotional power you hold over their spirit. You have become the one person whose thoughts and words matter more than anyone else's, making you a mirror they are not yet ready to face. Comment, deep love, if you have someone who cares deeply but stays distant to protect their own fragile heart. For them, loving you feels like stepping off a tall ledge without knowing if anything soft waits below. So instead of taking that risk, they remain frozen in a state of self-imposed isolation. Their distance is actually a quiet confession of guilt. Deep in their heart, they believe you deserve someone more complete, more healed, and more stable than they currently feel. They repeatedly replay past mistakes and conversations, worrying that their unhealed wounds will bring chaos into something pure and damage a connection that feels too precious to lose. Inside, their silence lives a soft and haunting voice telling them they are not yet ready enough to meet you as their best self. Hit like if you recognize that this silence is actually a protective wall born from their own feelings of inadequacy. They sense your bond in deep energetic spaces where pure logic cannot reach. And no matter how far they travel, you remain a permanent presence inside their inner world. Every temporary distraction fails, and every replacement feels empty because their heart remains loyal to the essence of what you shared, even while their mind fears the vulnerability you represent. As Carl Jung wrote, "What you resist persists," and their attempt to push you away has only caused the connection to grow stronger and more undeniable within their unconscious mind. Their silence is full of unspoken truths, and the heavy burden of past disappointments that taught them closeness often brings suffering, making you feel both precious and dangerous to their peace. Subscribe and comment "Recovery" if you are ready for the truth that their heart is working to overcome this fear. They are testing their own strength, trying to see whether they can stand alone before they become capable of standing beside you. Beneath the appearance of independence and in the quiet hours of the night, they lie awake, slowly crumbling under the immense pressure of everything left unsaid. They instinctively understand that even a single step toward you will transform their entire world, a metamorphosis for which they still do not feel prepared. Their absence is a self-imposed exile, a desperate attempt to calm their inner storm before it encounters the profound stillness of your presence. Type "Yes" if you want to understand why they are staying away, even though they love you deeply. They know that one moment of complete honesty will make their emotions impossible to deny. And once that truth is spoken, there is no returning to the safety of the shadows. To love you is a commitment to everything. And right now, they are terrified of giving that much of themselves to another soul. They hide behind the illusion of perfect timing, waiting until they feel stronger or until life somehow becomes easier. But their spirit already knows that healing does not wait for convenience. It does not arrive only when every wound has disappeared or when every fear has finally been conquered. Healing begins the moment a person becomes willing to face the truth inside their heart. This person feels your absence more than they ever admit. There are moments when your name crosses their mind unexpectedly and memories of you return without warning. Certain songs, places, and quiet evenings remind them of your energy and bring back emotions they try so hard to suppress. No matter how much they attempt to convince themselves that distance is the right choice, their heart keeps leading them back to the same truth. There is something about you they cannot replace, and something about this connection they cannot forget. Part of them believes that staying away protects both of you. They tell themselves that time will lessen the feelings, that space will make the emotions fade, and that eventually they will regain control. Yet the opposite continues to happen. The more they resist, the stronger the connection becomes. The more they avoid you, the more your presence fills their thoughts. The more they hide from these emotions, the more impossible it becomes to ignore them. Deep down, they know that this bond is not ordinary. It touched parts of them they thought had disappeared forever. It awakened dreams they stopped believing in and hopes they had carefully locked away. That is why they remain distant. Not because they do not love you. Not because you meant nothing. Not because they have forgotten. They stay away because loving you has changed them, and transformation can be terrifying. To open their heart completely means risking disappointment, rejection, and the possibility of losing something that has become incredibly important to them. Yet, despite all their fears, their soul still moves in your direction. A part of them still wonders what would happen if they stopped running. A part of them still imagines conversations that never happened and futures they never allowed themselves to explore. A part of them still hopes that when the time comes, they will have the courage to step out of the shadows and finally speak the truth they have carried in silence for so long. Because some connections cannot be erased, some feelings cannot be replaced, and some loves remain alive, even in distance, even in silence, and even behind walls built from fear. Even from a distance, they are haunted by the question of whether your heart still keeps a place for them or whether you have finally closed that door. The deeper truth is that they are coming back. Not when they become perfect, but when the pain of missing you finally becomes greater than the fear of their own vulnerability. While they may appear calm and unaffected to the outside world, this separation is a silent wound that touches them whenever the noise of everyday life fades away. They miss you not as a simple memory, but as the only place where they ever truly felt at home, a realization that everything seemed lighter, warmer, and more genuine when they were with you. As Carl Jung observed, until the unconscious becomes conscious, it will direct a person's life, and they will call it fate. Their hidden fears of being undeserving have guided their retreat, but their soul continues to pull them toward the light you bring into their life. This is a major turning point in their destiny, an opening that requires the very honesty they have spent years avoiding. Subscribe and comment home if you are ready to welcome the version of them that finally chooses truth instead of fear. At night, when sleep refuses to come and they stare into the darkness above, they think about words never spoken, apologies they still owe, truths they kept hidden, and opportunities they wish they could relive. They think about reaching out. They imagine what they would say if fear did not hold them back. They write messages they never send. They type long paragraphs and erase them again. They look at your name, hoping courage will suddenly appear. They rehearse conversations they are too afraid to begin. Every attempt ends with the same painful question. What if it is already too late? What if you have moved forward without them? What if the door has closed forever? Even with those fears, they cannot stop hoping that you still feel the connection. They wonder if you still sense the bond beneath the silence. They wonder if your heart still recognizes theirs the same way their heart recognizes yours. They wonder if your spirit still calls to them during quiet moments. There are nights when they become certain that you are thinking about them too. Moments when your name suddenly appears in their mind as though it has been pulled there by an invisible force. They are terrified of losing you forever. Even though they are the ones creating the distance, it is a strange attempt to protect themselves, pushing away the very thing that could truly heal them. Comment fear if you feel their silence is coming from fear and not from a lack of love. They live inside a contradiction. They run from their deepest desire. They remain silent about what they most need to say. They deny themselves the love that could transform them because they have never fully believed they deserve something so sincere and real. If they appear cold or uncaring, understand that it is only a mask, a shield, a way they learned to survive. They learned early in life that showing feelings meant risk. Depending on others meant weakness, and loving deeply meant future pain, so they built tall and heavy walls around themselves. Then you arrived and gently moved through those walls without even trying. That is the reason they step away. That is why they disappear. Sometimes they try to rebuild their defenses, but every attempt fails because their heart keeps choosing you. No matter how much their mind fights for control, they keep waiting for the right moment. Deep within themselves, they know that no perfect time exists for something this powerful. They keep telling themselves they need more days to become the person they hope to be. More time to heal, more time to grow, more time to learn how to love without fear. But time has become its own trap. Every day of waiting makes the distance feel heavier instead of easier. Every day of silence creates more pressure. Every day of pretending adds another layer of weight to the truth. They imagine returning to you in a strong and honest way, brave and without hesitation. They picture walking toward you already knowing the perfect words to say, but life does not wait for complete courage. Love does not pause until complete healing arrives. Sometimes the only path forward is to leap without being able to see where you will land. They are slowly learning that waiting for perfection causes people to lose what matters most. They remain standing still, wanting to move forward, but feeling unable to take the first step. They sense the universe gently guiding them toward you, while fear pulls them in the opposite direction. They try to quiet their inner struggles long enough to hear the deeper truth. They are deciding whether to continue living behind emotional walls or finally surrender to the bond that refuses to disappear. They wonder if perhaps you have become stronger without them. Maybe you have learned to move on. Maybe you no longer search for them. The possibility of that hurts them in ways they cannot easily repair. They would rather remain silent and punish themselves than face the pain of discovering that they waited too long. But beneath all the fear and all the delays, one powerful truth remains unchanged. They never stopped loving you. The distance is not there because love became weaker. The distance exists because love became so powerful that they could not carry its weight without feeling overwhelmed. They are not gone forever. They are gathering their strength. They are building courage piece by piece. They are fighting an inner battle between fear and what is meant to be. They are slowly learning that silence does not protect love. It only weakens it. There will come a moment, either softly or all at once, when something inside them opens completely and they can no longer stay away. A moment when their heart speaks louder than all of their worries. A moment when not choosing you hurts more than the risk of choosing you. On that day, the separation will end. They are coming back, not halfway, not uncertain, not weak, but truly present, fully honest, and completely open. Because this story is still continuing and your chapter remains unfinished. Love this deep does not simply disappear. It changes shape, it evolves, it grows. They are transforming within the silence. They are growing in ways that you cannot yet see. While it may seem as though nothing is happening, everything inside them is changing. Distance has forced them to face themselves, and that is one of the hardest battles anyone can experience. Being without you has acted like a mirror, showing them everything they once tried to avoid. It has revealed truths they tried to hide. It has removed the layers of protection they spent years building. Now they stand face to face with themselves, with no one else to blame and nowhere left to hide. No distractions remain. No escape remains. Only the undeniable truth that being apart from you has brought them the deepest pain they have ever known. So instead of continuing to run outward, they slowly began turning inward, although at first they resisted it. They are discovering who they really are without pretending. They are realizing that what they once called strength, shutting down emotions, keeping distance and isolating themselves from everyone, was actually just numbness. It was a way to survive, but it was never a way to truly live. Numbing does not create healing, and silence is not genuine strength. They look back at you and recognize someone who helped them feel safe enough to hope again, someone around whom they never needed to pretend. The distance gave them room to think more clearly, and now they see with new eyes the things that fear once kept hidden. They understand how deeply you saw them. They understand how completely you accepted them. And that realization scares them because being truly seen means becoming open to possible loss. It means allowing another person to witness the parts of themselves they have always hidden. It means risking heartbreak for the chance to experience something real. And even though that possibility frightens them, another truth is becoming impossible to ignore. The love they feel for you never left. It remained quietly alive beneath every fear, every silence, and every mile of distance between you. And sooner or later, that truth will become stronger than the walls they built to contain it. Being open means having something precious that could be hurt. They are slowly learning that the real danger is not losing you, but losing the opportunity to share something rare simply because fear held them back. They realize they cannot love you completely until they face the hidden parts of themselves they have always avoided. They cannot build something lasting while continuing to hide behind emotional walls. They cannot move toward you while carrying the weight of unhealed pain. So they are learning new ways of being. They are releasing old patterns they once believed would remain forever. They feel life pulling them away from who they used to be and guiding them through difficult but necessary growth. They were afraid of being loved because, deep inside, they felt unworthy. They are confronting the shadow parts Carl Jung described as the hidden, suppressed, and weaker sides of the personality. But you broke those old beliefs simply by being yourself. You made them feel safe enough to be completely human, and that frightened them more than anything they had experienced before. In their private moments of reflection, they remember the gentle sound of your voice, the peace in your presence, and the understanding that lived inside your quiet moments. You gave them something real, and they did not know how to fully receive it. They once believed love had to be difficult, filled with uncertainty, ups and downs, and emotional confusion because that was all they had ever known. But with you, it felt different. They were not mainly afraid that you would leave. They were afraid of disappointing you. They were afraid of letting you down. They feared that if you looked too closely, you would notice the imperfections they secretly felt ashamed of. What they are slowly beginning to understand is that you never asked them to be perfect. You never expected them to be without flaws. Love is not about perfection. It is about willingness. It is about showing up honestly. Every day they remain awake, they feel the emptiness created by their choice. Every morning without you, they carry a burden that no longer makes sense. Every night before sleep, their thoughts return to you. They understand that a love like this does not come often in life. Their distance is not giving them power. It is hurting the very thing they hope to protect. They can feel the universe urging them to move, to grow, and to face the truth. They feel the connection becoming stronger instead of fading away. What they hoped time would lessen, time has actually made deeper. Share this if you have a soul connection with someone who disappeared. They know now that life does not wait forever. Opportunities do not return endlessly. They are learning the difficult lesson Carl Jung once spoke about. There is no coming to awareness without pain. Through that process, one clear understanding has become stronger than fear and stronger than doubt. They cannot heal without truth. They cannot move forward without courage. The worries are becoming weaker. The heart is becoming stronger. The silence is beginning to crack. The distance is becoming smaller. Something inside them is preparing for the moment they finally stop running away. When they turn and face what they have avoided, it will be with clear eyes, open honesty, and the kind of truth that comes only after a long inner battle. Because what they feel for you is not temporary. It is not imagined. It is not something passing through. It is a deeper calling, a recognition between souls, and a connection that reaches beyond distance, silence, and even years. Soon, the silence they once used as protection will become too heavy to carry. The distance they believed would bring clarity has started to feel like a prison. Every day without you weighs more than the one before it. Every moment of pretending to be fine becomes more difficult to maintain. What they tried to suppress is now rising with strength. What they tried to ignore has become loud enough to awaken them. They can sense the transformation, the turning within themselves, and the ending of every excuse that once allowed them to hide. There comes a point in every great transformation when remaining the same becomes more painful than facing the unknown. They have reached that point. Their mind is exhausted from fighting something too powerful to defeat. They are beginning to realize that they are not protecting themselves by staying away. They are actually losing pieces of themselves. They are losing moments they can never recover. When the world becomes quiet and every distraction disappears, they find themselves whispering your name without meaning to. They reach for their phone without thinking. They search old memories for the sound of your laughter, the kindness in your eyes, and the warmth of simply being close to you. They replay the words they wish they had said and the moments when they chose fear instead of honesty. They see now how they walked away from the person who understood them clearly, accepted them completely, and made them feel known in a way no one else ever had. They think about the conversations left unfinished and the feelings that never found words. They imagine reaching out, and that thought both comforts and frightens them. They wonder if your voice would tremble. They wonder if your eyes would soften. They wonder if your heart would still recognize theirs. They wonder if there is still a place for them in your life, or whether too much time has passed. The struggle between fear and regret continues inside them. They are beginning to understand that every time they silence their true feelings, they betray their own heart. Every time they choose distance, they choose suffering. Every time they deny their emotions, they deny who they truly are. They are tired of carrying endless questions and endless what-ifs. They are tired of living only half of a life. They watch your life quietly from a distance without revealing it. They search carefully for signs of you. They read your words, looking for clues. They wonder whether you still smile when you remember them. Some days they are certain that you think about them too, as though energy itself travels through space between you. Other days, they fear they have become nothing more than a memory. But the pull remains no matter what. They are finally understanding something they missed before. You cannot replace a soul bond. You cannot hide from true destiny. You cannot keep running from the person who is meant to touch your life. Type "coming back" if you believe they will return when they are ready. They have lived through enough empty days to realize that life eventually punishes those who choose the deceptive comfort of safety over the raw honesty of the heart. The universe has guided them through a maze of small signs, unexpected words that felt like messages, and moments that seemed divinely arranged, proving that destiny does not whisper forever. They are finally paying attention because losing you has become the one outcome they can no longer accept or justify to their own soul. The transition from running to returning is happening right now because they see that their so-called safe distance was actually a slow and painful loss of their own vitality. Comment "healing" if this message touched your heart and gave you hope for the transformation that is unfolding. Healing is finally happening because they have become brave enough to stop running from closeness and allow themselves to be seen in their complete and unpolished truth. They are mentally rehearsing the moment of return, imagining themselves finally speaking the words they have carried inside for so long. I am sorry. I was not ready. And I never stopped caring. Those words remain inside their heart, waiting for the moment when fear finally loses its grip and love becomes stronger than everything that once kept them away.